The Psychology of Money. This book explores the complex relationship between human behavior and money, examining how our personal experiences, biases, and emotions shape the way we manage our finances. Housel draws on insights from a wide range of fields, including psychology, history, and economics, to offer readers a fresh perspective on the role money plays in our lives. Through a series of engaging anecdotes and thought-provoking insights, The Psychology of Money offers readers practical advice on how to develop a healthier, more mindful approach to managing their finances. So let's have deeper understanding of each chapter. Chapter 1. No one's crazy. As human beings, we are all unique, with our own experiences, beliefs, and biases. This is what makes us who we are, and it also shapes our thoughts and actions. However, it can also create conflicts when interacting with others who have different perspectives. In this chapter, the point being made is that no one can claim to have a complete understanding of the world, as we have only experienced a small fraction of it. It is essential to recognize that we are all limited by our experiences, and it is impossible for anyone to understand everything about the world. Our thoughts and actions are shaped by our experiences, and these experiences can differ vastly from person to person. This is why it is important to approach others with an open mind, even if we do not always agree with their perspectives. When we interact with others, it is easy to dismiss their opinions as irrational or illogical. However, this is a narrow-minded approach that fails to recognize that we are all products of our experiences. No one is crazy or illogical, and we should strive to understand where others are coming from, even if we do not always agree with them. It is also important to remember that history may not always be the best teacher. Reading about events is not the same as experiencing them firsthand. Our understanding of historical events is often colored by our own biases and experiences. Chapter 2. Luck and risk play a crucial role in determining success or failure in life. While we often attribute success to hard work and effort, the truth is that luck can sometimes play a much larger role than we might realize. In the same vein, circumstances beyond our control can sometimes lead to failure, regardless of how hard we work. In this section, we will explore the role of luck and risk in determining outcomes and why it is important to acknowledge their impact. When we think of success stories, we often focus on the hard work and dedication that went into achieving a particular goal. For example, we might look at someone who started their own business and attribute their success to their drive, their ability to take risks, and their relentless work ethic. However, while these factors are certainly important, they are not the only ones that contribute to success. Luck, for instance, can play a significant role in determining the outcome of any given situation. A person might be in the right place at the right time, have a chance encounter that leads to a life-changing opportunity, or simply benefit from a set of circumstances that are beyond their control. These types of lucky breaks can make all the difference between success and failure, even if the individual in question worked just as hard as someone who didn't experience the same kind of luck. Of course, luck can also go the other way. Just as it can be the key to success, it can also be the cause of failure. For example, a person might have the best business idea in the world, but if they launch it at the wrong time or in the wrong market, it might not take off. Alternatively, someone might be born into circumstances that make success much more difficult, such as growing up in poverty or in an area with limited opportunities. These types of factors can significantly impact a person's ability to succeed, even if they work just as hard as someone who doesn't face the same kind of risk. Chapter 3. The concept of never enough is a common phenomenon in modern society, particularly when it comes to the accumulation of wealth. Despite having vast amounts of money and material possessions, some individuals still feel the need to accumulate more. This constant desire for more can have negative consequences on one's mental well-being, as it leads to a sense of never being satisfied or fulfilled. At the heart of the never-enough mindset is the idea that there is always more to be gained or achieved. This belief is often fueled by societal expectations and norms that emphasize the importance of wealth and material possessions. The more we accumulate, the more status and prestige we are perceived to have, which can lead to feelings of validation and self-worth. However, this constant striving for more can also be detrimental to our happiness and well-being. Research has shown that there is a point at which more money and possessions do not necessarily lead to greater happiness. Once our basic needs are met, such as food, shelter, and safety, additional wealth does not significantly improve our well-being. This is known as the hedonic treadmill, where we adapt to our new level of wealth and soon find ourselves wanting more. The never-enough mentality can also lead to social comparison, where we compare ourselves to others who have more or appear to be more successful. This can lead to feelings of envy and inadequacy, as we strive to keep up with the perceived success of others. Social media has only exacerbated this phenomenon, as we are constantly bombarded with images of other people's seemingly perfect lives and possessions. However, social comparison is a double-edged sword. While it can lead to negative feelings, it can also be a source of motivation and inspiration. Seeing what others have achieved can inspire us to strive for more and reach our own goals. The key is to balance the desire for more with a sense of gratitude and contentment with what we already have. Ultimately, the never-enough mentality is a reflection of our cultural values and societal expectations. We are taught to believe that success and happiness are synonymous with wealth and material possessions. However, research has shown that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, and cannot be achieved solely through external means. To overcome the never-enough mindset, we must first recognize the cultural and societal pressures that contribute to it. We can then shift our focus towards gratitude and contentment, recognizing the blessings and abundance we already have in our lives. Chapter 4. Confounding compounding. Compounding is a fundamental concept that is crucial to understanding the power of small actions over time. It is the idea that even small gains or losses made over a period of time can accumulate and lead to significant results in the long run. This concept can be applied to various aspects of life, including investing. In the world of investing, compounding is a powerful tool that can help investors generate wealth over time. It involves reinvesting the returns on an investment to generate even more returns, and this cycle repeats itself over time. For example, if you invest $1,000 and earn a 10% return in the first year, you would have $1,100 at the end of the year. If you reinvest that $100 and earn another 10% return in the second year, you would have $1,210 at the end of the second year. As this cycle repeats itself over several years, the returns can compound, leading to significant gains over time. However, the power of compounding does not only apply to investing. It is a concept that can be applied to all aspects of life, including personal finance, health, and even relationships. For example, saving a small amount of money every month can accumulate over time and help achieve long-term financial goals. Similarly, small, consistent changes in diet and exercise habits can lead to significant improvements in overall health and well-being. The key takeaway from the concept of compounding is the importance of patience and waiting for results. Success may not always come quickly or easily, and it may take time to see significant results. However, consistent, small actions over time can lead to significant gains and accomplishments. This means that it is important to have a long-term perspective and not be discouraged by short-term setbacks. It is also essential to note that compounding can work in both positive and negative ways. Just as small gains can accumulate over time, small losses can also accumulate and lead to significant negative outcomes. This is why it is crucial to be mindful of our actions and decisions, especially when it comes to investing and personal finance. Chapter 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two very different skills. Getting wealthy requires taking risks, while keeping money requires humility and paranoia about not losing what you have. Successful investment is about survival, sticking around long enough to let compounding work for you. To stay wealthy, it is important to be financially unbreakable instead of going after big returns. Allowing for error in financial planning is one way to become financially unbreakable. Being short-term paranoid to keep your wealth and long-term optimistic to grow it is also crucial. One of the key things to remember is that being financially unbreakable is more important than chasing big returns. This means having a diversified portfolio and being prepared for the unexpected. It is important to allow for error in financial planning, which means having a buffer in case things go wrong. This could include having an emergency fund, insurance, and a diversified portfolio. By being financially unbreakable, you can weather any storm and stay wealthy in the long run. Chapter 6 Tails, You Win. The concept of tails, you win suggests that a few rare events in a distribution curve, known as tail events, can have an enormous impact on an investor's strategy. It highlights the fact that successful investing is not always about consistent returns, but instead about being positioned to benefit from the rare but significant tail events. For instance, a single successful investment can compensate for several failed investments. This approach suggests that investors should focus on diversifying their portfolios to position themselves to benefit from these tail events. Moreover, the phrase "an investor can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune" suggests that even if half of the investments are unsuccessful, the remaining successful investments can lead to a profitable return. It is essential to remain calm during difficult times and avoid overreacting. In essence, successful investing is about focusing on the long term and being prepared for the rare but significant tail events that can drive success. Chapter 7 Freedom. The concept of freedom emphasizes the idea that true happiness comes from having control over one's life. It suggests that being able to do what one wants, when one wants, and with whom one wants is the ultimate goal. However, modern-day work culture, where people tend to take their work with them everywhere, has made it challenging to achieve this level of control. We tend to work more with our heads than with our hands, and this can result in less control over our lives. The phrase "controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays" highlights the importance of time and suggests that it is a valuable asset that can be more significant than money. It is essential to prioritize time management and ensure that it aligns with one's personal goals and priorities. Investing in one's time can lead to significant dividends, including more control over one's life and greater freedom to pursue what makes one happy. Chapter 8 Man in the Car Paradox. The man in the car paradox suggests that we tend to be more impressed by a person's possessions than by their achievements. For instance, when we see someone driving an expensive car, we tend to focus on the car rather than the driver's accomplishments. We imagine ourselves driving the car instead of admiring the driver's hard work and dedication that enabled them to afford such a vehicle. The phrase "no one is as impressed with your possessions as much as you are" underscores the idea that material possessions are not as valuable as we perceive them to be. While they may provide temporary satisfaction, they do not necessarily lead to long-term happiness or success. Instead, it is more important to focus on personal achievements, growth, and development that can lead to a fulfilling life. Chapter 9 Wealth is what you don't see. When we think of wealth, we often think of flashy cars, luxury homes, and other visible signs of affluence. However, true wealth is not about the things we have, but rather the options they provide. Wealth is having the ability to make choices that can improve our lives, whether that be buying a home, taking time off to travel, or investing in a business. One way to think about wealth is through the lens of opportunity cost. For example, if you have the option to buy an expensive car or invest that money in a retirement fund, choosing the latter may provide you with more wealth in the long run, despite not having a shiny new car to show for it. Being wealthy means having the ability to choose between different options and make decisions that align with your long-term goals. This is why being a millionaire is not about spending $1 million, but rather having the ability to save and invest $1 million. A millionaire who spends all of their money on flashy cars and extravagant vacations is not truly wealthy, as they are limiting their options for the future. In essence, wealth is the option not yet taken. It is the ability to make choices that can improve your life, even if you haven't exercised those options yet. By reframing our understanding of wealth away from material possessions and towards the choices they provide, we can build a more sustainable and fulfilling financial future. Chapter 10 Save Money. Saving money is one of the most important habits for building long-term wealth. While getting more money is largely out of our control, e.g. salary raises, bonuses, etc., saving money is something we can actively work on to improve our financial situation. One of the most effective ways to save money is by reducing lifestyle bloat. Lifestyle bloat refers to the tendency to increase spending as our income grows, often leading to a lifestyle that is unsustainable in the long run. By reducing unnecessary expenses and living below our means, we can save more money and build wealth over time. Another key factor in saving money is humility. Savings are the gap between our income and our ego. The less we let our egos drive our spending habits, the more we can save. This means being willing to forego expensive purchases and prioritizing our long-term financial goals over short-term gratification. By saving money, we also give ourselves flexibility to take advantage of opportunities that may arise in the future. For example, if we have a healthy emergency fund and savings account, we may feel more comfortable taking a lower-paying job that aligns with our passions, or investing in a business idea that has the potential to yield significant returns. In short, saving money is an essential habit for building long-term wealth and achieving financial freedom. By reducing lifestyle bloat, embracing humility, and prioritizing our long-term goals, we can save more money and create a more fulfilling financial future. Chapter 10: Reasonable Rational. When it comes to investing, being rational means making decisions based purely on the numbers and facts, without any emotional attachment or bias. While this may seem like the most logical approach, it can also lead to uncomfortable situations. For example, a purely rational investor may sell a stock as soon as it starts going down, even if there is evidence to suggest that it will recover in the long run. This is because the investor is not emotionally attached to the stock and is simply making a decision based on the numbers. However, being reasonable instead of purely rational can help us avoid uncomfortable situations and make more informed decisions. By allowing a bit of emotion and passion into our investing decisions, we can more effectively balance risk and reward and make decisions that align with our long-term goals. For example, a reasonable investor may decide to hold on to a stock that is going down. Chapter 12: Surprise. The point of surprise is that things that have never happened before happen all the time. The author warns against using history as a guide for the future. While history can tell us how people behaved under certain circumstances, it doesn't predict the future. Trends will always be surprises. The author suggests that we should prepare for the unexpected by being open-minded and flexible. It's important to recognize that the future is unpredictable, and we should be ready for anything. This is particularly true when it comes to investing. There are always risks involved, and there's no way to predict what will happen in the market. The author argues that it's dangerous to rely too heavily on historical data when making investment decisions. While historical data can be helpful in making informed decisions, it's important to recognize that the future is unpredictable. The market can be volatile, and trends can change quickly. It's important to be prepared for the unexpected and to have a plan in place for dealing with unforeseen circumstances. Ultimately, the point of surprise is to remind us to be humble and to recognize that we don't have all the answers. We should be open to new ideas and willing to adapt to changing circumstances. This is particularly true when it comes to investing. We should be willing to take risks, but we should also be prepared for the possibility that things may not go according to plan. Chapter 13: Room for Error. The point of room for error is that we should plan for our plans not going to plan. This means that we should always have some margin for error built into our plans. The author suggests that having room for error lets us endure a range of outcomes instead of only one. This is particularly important when it comes to investing. There are always risks involved, and it's important to be prepared for the unexpected. The author suggests that we should avoid investing all of our cash. Having some cash in the bank gives us options during surprises. We should also take risks with one portion of our money and be terrified about losing the other portion. This is a way to balance risk and reward. We should avoid a single point of failure, which means that we should diversify our investments. This is similar to what we do when building software. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. The author argues that we don't need to save money for a specific reason. It's impossible to know today what we'll need the money for in the future. By having some cash on hand, we have the flexibility to take advantage of opportunities that come our way. This might mean taking a lower paying, but more rewarding job, learning something new, or retiring early. Chapter 14: You'll change as humans. Change is inevitable. Our wants, needs, and desires change as we grow and evolve. This is particularly true during childhood when our dreams and aspirations change almost daily. However, as we grow older, we tend to settle into a routine and become more resistant to change. This resistance can be problematic as it prevents us from embracing new experiences, opportunities, and perspectives. The key is to recognize that change is a natural part of life and to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to learn and grow. Chapter 15. The End of History Illusion. The end of history illusion is the belief that we have learned all there is to know and that the future will be a mere continuation of the past. This belief can be dangerous as it can lead to complacency, stagnation, and a lack of innovation. The truth is that the future is uncertain, and we must be prepared to adapt and evolve in order to thrive. By embracing change and continuing to learn, we can create a better future for ourselves and those around us. Chapter 16. Nothing's free. There is no such thing as a free lunch, and this is particularly true when it comes to investing. High dividends often come with high volatility, and investors must be willing to accept this risk if they want to achieve high returns. Attempting to achieve high gains without accepting uncertainty is akin to stealing, and the consequences can be severe. Rather than viewing volatility as a fine, investors should view it as a fee for the potential returns they can achieve. Chapter 17. You and me. Short-term trading and long-term investing are two very different games. Short-term traders are focused on making quick profits, while long-term investors are focused on achieving sustainable growth. It is important to recognize the difference between these two approaches and to seek advice from those who are aligned with your investment goals. Bubbles can form when long-term investors become influenced by short-term traders, leading to irrational exuberance and unsustainable growth. Chapter 18. The seduction of pessimism. Pessimism is a powerful force that can influence our thinking and our actions. It is often taken more seriously than optimism, even though optimism is a more productive attitude for most people. This is because optimism is rooted in the belief that things can and will get better, while pessimism is rooted in the belief that things are doomed to fail. While it is important to be aware of the risks and challenges we face, it is equally important to remain optimistic and hopeful about the future. This will help us to stay focused on our goals and to persevere through difficult times. Article 19. When you'll believe anything. The financial industry is built on numbers, facts, and figures, but when it comes down to it, stories are what drive people's decisions. In fact, stories are the most powerful force in finance, more powerful than tangible facts. When people are faced with a difficult decision, they often turn to the stories they tell themselves to guide their choices. One reason why stories are so powerful is that they tap into our emotions. Emotions are a driving force behind our behavior, and they often override our rational thinking. When people are faced with high-stakes situations, they become more susceptible to believing stories over facts. This is because their emotions are heightened, and they are looking for guidance on how to proceed. Another reason why stories are so powerful is that they help us make sense of things we don't understand. Finance can be complex, and many people find it difficult to understand the intricacies of investing and money management. Stories provide a simple framework for understanding complex ideas, and they make it easier for people to make decisions. The problem with stories is that they can be misleading. Stories are often based on personal experiences or anecdotal evidence, which may not be representative of the larger picture. It's important to be skeptical of stories and to verify them always. Chapter 20. Confessions. Confessions are a powerful tool for individuals to share their personal experiences, successes, and failures. They allow us to learn from others, gain insights, and possibly avoid making similar mistakes in the future. In this context, the author's confessions reveal 3 points that work for them, but may not necessarily work for everyone: buying a house without a mortgage, keeping 20% of all assets in cash for unexpected expenses, and investing only in a handful of index funds. The first point the author discusses is their decision to buy a house without a mortgage. This is an uncommon approach for most people, as purchasing a house outright with cash is a privilege that only a few can afford. In many cases, people take out mortgages to purchase their homes and pay them off over time. The author states that the feeling of owning the house is worth more than the lost revenue from higher return investments. However, it's essential to note that buying a house without a mortgage may not be feasible for most people due to the high cost of property prices in major cities like Sydney. For many individuals, taking out a mortgage and paying it off over time may be the only option to own a house. Additionally, the opportunity cost of not investing the cash used to purchase the house may be significant, and individuals should carefully consider this before making such a decision. The second point the author makes is to keep 20% of all assets in cash for unexpected expenses instead of investing it. This is a wise financial strategy that is commonly advised by financial experts. Having an emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses, such as medical bills or job loss, is essential to avoid having to rely on high-interest credit card debt or other forms of borrowing. However, the exact amount of cash to keep in an emergency fund varies from person to person. Some experts recommend having 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash, while others suggest having 6 to 12 months worth. The author's decision to keep 20% of all assets in cash may not be enough for some individuals, depending on their lifestyle, expenses, and risk tolerance. The third point the author discusses is their decision to invest only in a handful of index funds. Index funds are an investment vehicle that tracks a market index, such as the S&P 500, and provides exposure to a diverse range of stocks. The author believes that investing in a handful of index funds has the highest odds for long-term success. This approach is known as a passive investing strategy, where investors aim to match the performance of the market rather than trying to beat it actively. The end.